remember, you can download these slides. I think I did it. I already said this about Dr. Morstein. She's been a naturopathic physician for 30 years. She's got a BS summa cum laude in foods and nutrition chair at Naturopathic Medical School for 11 years. So many of the people that I bring on have studied with Dr. Morstein and learned from her, by the way. Gastroenterology professor at Naturopathic Medical School for 11 years. She's often in she's been in every SIBO SOS Summit I've done. She's going to be in our big docuseries coming up in June, and she does practice in Tempe. But remember, she does telemedicine. Okay. Did I do a good job, Dr. Morstein, on that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. The thing is that, like, guys, here's an expert who's helping us. So please soak it up. And we're going to go. Also, Dr. Morstein has formulated some very specific SIBO products through Priority One. And I'm going to ask you to speak about those right now, if you would.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thanks very much, Yvonne. I appreciate all the technological stuff you had to go through to get us here. And so just, the other intro slide with me is this talk is sponsored by Priority One, who came to me and asking to create some SIBO products. And so these are the ones that we've created. On the third slide, one, a natural antibiotic to help eradicate SIBO in one bottle. Very good product. SIBO MMC is a prokinetic SIBO rebuild to heal the gut and nerves that can be damaged, either causing SIBO or as a result of SIBO. And then a good enzyme. And I want to just mention this enzyme because this is one of the only ones that I know that really contains several disaccharide bases, which are the enzymes that are most drastically reduced as a result of SIBO and damage to the gut. So I thought it was only fair. Here's the products. If we go to slide 4, you can see those bottles there. And now we can just get started to the talk on slide 5.
Okay.
So, yes. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I know there's some people that are trying to get into the Facebook group.
Oh, okay. We'll wait a sec.
As we speak. And I'm actually just going to reach out to somebody on the team and ask them to let them in. Okay. Keep going.
Well, should we wait? Okay. Just keep going. Okay.
No, keep going.
Okay. So here's this slide 5 says, it's explaining why it's really good to analyze and be able to analyze, or at least ask your integrative physician or naturopathic physician to analyze your supplements and make sure that, one, you need them. You need it. People may be taking a lot of supplements that they don't need. They may be taking supplements with ingredients that are not good ingredients, which we'll be talking about. Or they may be decent ingredients or bad ingredients, but anyway, not at a therapeutic dose. When we think of medication, like if we think of rifaximin, we know it's 550 milligrams 3 times a day for 2 to 3 weeks, say. And they're natural medicines, whether it's vitamins or minerals or botanicals, they also have therapeutic doses. And many products do not include therapeutic dose. And people may think, oh, I tried the botanical. Oh, I tried ginkgo biloba to think better, and it didn't work. But then the label just says 40 milligrams per capsule. That's not a therapeutic dose of ginkgo biloba. So for physicians that know ingredients can help you make sure that you're getting a high quality product that is at the amount that needs to work. Now, excipients are the extra things that are thrown into supplements that we'll talk about. And also the idea is the form. Can you swallow? Well, okay, then I can give you capsules. If not, I may need to give you a powder or a liquid. Also, just what's the company? There are many good companies out there that do high quality products. And then there are some crappy companies out there that, we really don't want to make too much use of their supplements. And the last thing is making sure that you're getting it's fresh, it's not expired, what says, what's on the label is in the product, and making sure that you buy it from somebody who has a good turnover. So it's, the product is good. They're getting it directly from the company, and that you can trust that what the label says is what's in it. So these are all the big reasons that knowing what's on a label is so important. So these are the categories we're kind of going to run through today. Just general vitamin types, vitamins, minerals, botanicals, enzymes, fish oils, excipients. We have a few slides on all of these just to bring them into clarity. This is, I'm just briefly touching on them, but I think I'll give you a good idea. So with multiple vitamins, there are 5 main kinds of multiple vitamins, the categories of how they are made. So real quick, a product that is just a USP formulary. Now, the USP formulary is not a federal program. This is a private company that verifies only a few things. One is that you can see the capsule dissolves in 45 minutes at an intestinal temperature. That doesn't mean they're measuring if it's absorbed, because they're not. They're just measuring that it broke apart in the gut. Also, that it doesn't contain microorganisms, and that what is on the label, the amount, is what is in the product. But that's all that it's saying. It's, you can have a really, really crappy supplement that is USP approved. In fact, many products that are USP approved use just what we would call the really dregs of vitamin quality that have all kind of fillers and preservatives, because the USP doesn't say quality. It's really dissolving, no bugs, and the dosage are accurate. So most USP formulary products are very polluted with things that we don't really want to get into our body with our supplements, right? And so that's one of the problems. So if you want to read more on USP, USP.org is where you can go. But just because it's USP certified, doesn't necessarily that good a product. The good companies that physicians such as myself use have certification that is 100,000 times, better than just USP. They do other organizations and certification that is a higher quality standard. Now, there are some glandular type multiples. For example, one company like Standard Process, which is a good company. I use their glandular. But, these companies for their multiples, they can have organic or conventional, one or the other, raised produce or flowers or yeast or meats. And then they add in USP formulary nutrients. In general, those are very poor quality and not really what we want to be getting in. So good now with their straight glandulars, they're great. I use a lot of their products, but you just have to understand that, they're adding in these USP formulary supplements to their products. Now, the soy-based type product, this is a product like New Chapter. And these, even though they're kind of trying to say food-based, basically what they have is a large vat of soy. I don't know if that is GMO-free soy or not. And I think that's important to know, because you'll get 1 or 2 milligrams of soy in every product that comes out of that company, because it is part of what it's sitting in. It's a soy vat. They add Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is a yeast, and then they add USP formulary supplements in. And in their view, the yeast kind of, magically change it into the highest quality supplement there is. But I have yeast in my gut, and you have yeast in yours. And when you put in BHT and preservatives and dextrose and cornstarch, it doesn't really turn into a magical, really perfect product. It's those things in your gut. So these are, if you have a soy sensitivity, you wouldn't want to use these products. And so, this is again what you want to know about these kind of products. Now there's a product like Innate that is truly concentrated dried foods that are dried, they're concentrated, they maintain a little water so they're still alive, and they are really a true food. They just tend to have a lot lower dose of nutrients in them than we sometimes need. But at least it is a good quality product that you can really trust. It is concentrated foods. And then we have the standard multiple vitamin. One of the terms that can be used to describe it is like a synthetic chemical, isolated vitamins. It doesn't sound very good, but it is what most people or physicians have been using for decades and decades. And even in these products, there can be a very large difference in quality in companies. Now, generally, a good quality company, their product is very pure. That's not USP in any way, shape, or form. It's really very pure, very high quality. Doesn't have those nasty excipients or additions that are in the USP. We can do much higher dosing for people that have been depleted, have maybe leaky gut, don't absorb their food as well, have digestive problems, and just need more nutrients to get into their cells to help them heal and help them recover from their long-term illness. Certainly, we have a good historical emphasis for these products in patients. I mean, just think, if you're anemic in iron, for example, we give you a iron vitamin that's a synthetic, isolated iron, and you get over your anemia. So we do need to understand that there are still good and bad quality of these nutrients in them. They can, so they can be in activated form, they can be in a bad form, and so forth. They're generally very easy to absorb. Now, the problems may be, again, if it's a different, if the company wants to give their products to vegetarians, they may have ergocalciferol in them, which is not a really good form of vitamin D that is vegan, but it isn't found in the human body. It's not made by the human body. It's made by irradiated mushrooms. So, not necessarily a good thing. Or it may have DL alpha tocopherol. If you see that L, it's a synthetic where only half the vitamin E is active. So, also it may say 100 milligrams, but you're only getting 50 IUs that are active, right? So, like I say, this is the quality of the ingredients. Also, we just need to be careful we're not overdosing them, since we can get them in isolated high amounts and so forth. And so, are we taking, a good variety of food that will make up for these isolated nutrients? Now, there are also a lot of different, you can get different kind of vitamins and mineral products. In these chemical isolates, you can get them in all different ways and very specific for a person's individual needs. So, last we got, I'm sorry, should I be saying I'm on 16?
Yes, my dear. I've been sitting here waiting to move slides.
Oh my God, really? So I'm on, just keep moving. I'm at each pause, I would say probably change. Okay. But if you can go forward to 16, yep. Go slow so people can see that. I'm sorry, I forgot.
It's okay.
So we're on 16.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that with, vitamins, are they kosher? Jews or Muslims may not want certain things in them. Like, for example, the glandular ones, they may not want to have the bovine or the pork, obviously glands in their multiple vitamin. Vegan, vegetarian. Do they have food sensitivities? Check the label. And also, again, the form we can change. Now, going to 17, talking about nutrients, we'll start with 18. We're on vitamins. So just real quick, on a label, vitamin A is generally as a retinol palmitate and generally combined with beta carotene. Now, beta carotene is okay, but you really want to see somewhere on the label that they've got mixed carotenoids. So that's the ideal. An ideal label will have mixed carotenoids, which is a bunch of many different carotenoids in it. Vitamin C, vitamin C is really, really absorbable, even as ascorbic acid. You'll sometimes see ascorbyl palmitate. That's when they use vitamin C as a preservative. There's many different ways, hues it can shows up, but you can't really screw up vitamin C. So really any form they have it would be an acceptable form. Vitamin D3, as I say, that should only be cholecalciferol. Cholecalciferol. I should have written that down, but not ergo or other forms. And vitamin D should be given with calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, and vitamin A. It's kind of this grouping that should be occurring to make sure that we're getting the calcium in and it's getting directly into the bones. So vitamin E, ideally we want mixed tocopherols. Or, most of them, though, have D-alpha. Just make sure you don't see DL alpha tocopherol. Vitamin K has, the highest dose we give is 45 milligrams. Most products have micrograms. And in reality, the MK4 is the best form for reducing fractures. Some people think MK7 because it has a longer half-life, but actually it's MK4 that has all the studies showing it reduces fractures. You can't really screw up biotin. And then with some of the B vitamins, B1 just comes as it does. There's no real special B1. There is a kind of B1 called benfotiamine, which is a fat-soluble B vitamin that's rarely found in a supplement because it's pretty expensive, but that we'll give to patients with diabetes. It's so good to prevent complications. Here's the riboflavone. I listed the activated form, which would be nice to have some on the label. B3 is niacin or niacinamide. Niacin is what we use to lower cholesterol. It's contraindicated in gout patients. And then pantothenic acid is usually how it comes. Pantethine is a kind of B5 that we use to lower cholesterol. B6 has different names. I've listed the activated form. B12 is cobalamin. I've listed there's three main good forms. Methylcobalamin, adenosyl, and notice that, it's not bad to get adenosyl. Hydroxycobalamin, sometimes we're injecting that into people. It's easily turned into the other two. And that the one we try to avoid is cyano. I will say, always check homocysteine before getting a methyl tetrahydrofolate gene test, because the homocysteine will really tell you if it's a problem, not having the gene. And then I do list the L-methyl tetrahydrofolate. A good brand is quadrafolate. This is good brand. But sometimes it's good to use folinic acid. And especially if we're trying to heal up certain areas of our body, folinic acid is a very acceptable form of folic acid. So that's the vitamins. Well, I'll have plenty of time at the end for questions. I'm going to stay as long as I need to, as long as Siobhan will let me to answer questions.
You're the best.
I keep forgetting to do the numbers. Number on the slide 21, we're on minerals. These are the main food minerals. Now, I want you to know that because on slide 22, there are companies like Concentrates that says it has 72 minerals in it. These are strongly not the products you want to buy, like ever. Okay, I'm going to go backwards to slide 21. These are the minerals that a human body needs. That's it. We don't, now back to 22, and if you can see the list, it's kind of blocked, I'm sorry, but if there's a list of all of these 72 minerals, and many of them are completely toxic to people. When we test people for heavy metal toxicity, these are the metals that we're testing. Cadmium is a huge toxin. Arsenic, lead, mercury, these are terrible. I mean, would you give a product, as I say, with lead in it to your child? I mean, of course not. So why are you taking it? So when they list, it's got 72 minerals in it, you want to run away and not use it, because I don't know what they're doing, but they're putting in amounts of minerals that should never be ingested at all. Now, on the next slide, 23, I'm just listing the substrate. So the idea is you have a mineral and then it's attached to something. And what it's attached to is going to either really enhance its absorption or really prevent it from being absorbed. So the best forms of a mineral substrate are when it's chelated, which means we have the mineral and then we have that substrate all the way around it. And so however it hits the gastrointestinal tract, it's going to hit the substrate, which is very easily absorbable, and the mineral goes through with it. Generally, bisglycinates and these glycoglutamines, so glycinates, bisglycinates, the glycoglutamines, those are chelated substrates. Also be aware that selenium, potassium, and boron cannot be chelated biochemically. And if you see on your nutrient label, like I have a bottle, that shows potassium chelated. Well, it can't be chelated. So you're wondering, selenium chelated. It can't be chelated. So then you're just completely thinking that's not a good product. They're making it up.
What does chelated mean, Dr. Morstein?
Chelated means that when a mineral is chelated, it means say this is some magnesium right here. So that the company takes like bisglycinate, attaches it to the magnesium in a 360-degree circle. Now, this is all positive as an ion, and your gastrointestinal tract is negative. So any way it hits the gastrointestinal tract, it's very easy for the gut to absorb the glycinate, and it's attracted to it biochemically as well. Chelated minerals are small, so they aid in absorption. They're surrounded entirely by the mineral substrate, and therefore they are simply absorbed. They don't need stomach acid. They don't need anything. They are going to be taken in by the body. Now, a bound complex is second best absorbed. Now, these are citrate, malate, aspartate, fumarate. Some people think that these are chelated, but they're not. They're a bound complex. They're not fully encircled by the substrate, but they are still very well absorbed. They don't need stomach acid to get absorbed, and you can feel confident using a product that has bound complexes in it. If it says a protein, like a hydrolyzed vegetable protein, we don't know if that's going to absorb or not. If it says amino acid chelate, again, there are some companies out there that make really bad chelators, really bad products. I've spoken to them on the phone. Their process is just bogus, and they don't really make a chelated product. But then you have a company like Albion, and Albion is the premier chelating company in America. And there are some companies like Zymogen. You'll see that they've got this TRAAC, on their label, which means it's a verified chelated mineral from Albion. And that's, quality that you can really trust. But again, bound complexes are still okay. Now, the ones that we want to avoid, salt-based, carbonate, gluconate oxides. For example, magnesium oxide, you're going to see that on a lot of labels. But milk of magnesia, which is magnesia that is solely absorbed, it's a laxative, is magnesium oxide. So oxides, if it's got an oxide or a gluconate, you're not really going to be absorbing that. Carbonate you may absorb if you have excellent stomach acid. Excellent. But if you don't have good stomach acid, then you can't absorb carbonates well in any way. So these salts are ones we want to avoid. If I have a patient bring me a supplement and I see there's zinc oxide in it, magnesium oxide, that's it. They can't use it. They're not going to be absorbing really key nutrients.
Dr. Morstein, so are you saying, like, a lot of people in this Facebook group are, constipated? They're always trying to figure out which magnesium can help them. So what's the most successful magnesium that you've seen in your practice to help people with constipation?
Well, obviously first of all, you remember, you're asking now, how do we use a mineral as a laxative?
Right.
So not obviously, so obviously we're trying specifically to not absorb it, right? So that's, I'm talking about here, this lecture is how do we best absorb things. But if you're using magnesium, obviously most people just use calms, right? Magnesium citrate. Now, magnesium citrate in a lower amount is going to be absorbed. If you take 400 milligrams of magnesium citrate, your body will absorb that. But if you take 1 or 2 or 3 grams, you're gonna then have diarrhea. You'll have a looser stool from it. Obviously, magnesium oxide, as I talked about, milk of magnesia, is a laxative form of magnesia, right? So those are the two that we would use for that type of process.
Okay. Those terms get thrown around a lot. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's using magnesium as a medical laxative, right? Right. If we're talking about maximizing our internal nutrition, that's where we want to stay with the chelated or the bound complexes.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, the next slide, 24, I kind of group them all together. The better substrates that you can be content with on a label, the problematic substrates that you really don't want to use, and the unknown, which is when it says amino acid chelate. Okay, moving on. Let's go to I don't have time to talk about a lot of these accessory nutrients. But if people have any questions about things afterwards, in terms of the next slide, 26, botanicals. With botanicals, again, we're looking at which is the herb and do you need it? Is it safe for you? It may or may not be, given who you are and the time of life and the conditions you have. Not every herb is safe for people. Kava is a great herb for calming, but it's really awful if you're having a glass of wine a night. It doesn't mix with alcohol. So, berberine is great, except if you're pregnant, then it's contraindicated. So we need to make sure that if we're taking botanicals, we're talking with our docs and just checking out and making sure they know who we are and if this is an appropriate herb. and if it's safe, if it is safe, is it at a dose that has a therapeutic effect, right? And then do we use a tincture that is all of the herbs and all of their aspects together? It's herbs that are in, we just put in some alcohol and extracted everything from the herb in this liquid tincture? Or do we just want to concentrate? Like, we don't want to take curcumin, or we don't want to take turmeric, but we just want to extract curcumin, from it, right? So sometimes we want the whole herb, and sometimes we want just this extract. And then also, how do we want to give it to the person? It comes in tinctures, glycerite, which are okay for people with SIBO. Glycerin is an acceptable sweetener. And then jams and gummy bears. There's a great gummy bear, turmeric, so these are what we're looking at with botanicals. Also, we want to be aware that certain, like Chinese botanicals, are very high in toxic metals and should not be really used long term. Acutely, they can be amazing, but we have to know where are these herbs really coming from, and how safe is it to be on long term.
Dr. Morstein, do you know the brand of the turmeric gummy bears? Because I would like that.
Yes, not because I take them here and there, but it's my kind organic gummy turmeric.
Okay.
They're pretty good, to be honest.
Sometimes they have
they do. No, these. Well, of course, if I'm taking it, they don't. They do. There is some fruit juice in them, but no sugar and no bad excipients.
Cool. Okay, are you ready for the next slide?
Yes, let's go to 27.
Okay.
So these are enzymes. Now, there are many, many different kind of enzymes. Pancreatin is an extract from animals that has all the pancreatic main enzymes in it. But then we can also make from yeasts, usually made from yeasts, we can make amylase, which breaks down carbohydrates, and proteases, which breaks down protein. Lipase breaks down fats. Ox bile, cellulose, which helps break down certain fibers, which we don't really break down very well anyway. And disaccharidases, which help break down those double carbohydrates. Now, because we think of the stomach, and on the next slide, you'll see the stomach is stomach acid. The pancreas makes all of the carb, lipid, protein, cellulase enzymes. The gallbladder makes the bile, and your small intestine is where we make the disaccharidases. So we've got to have all of these working in tandem for digestion to really come together. There is one that I did a typo here. This should be alpha galactosidase, and that's also called BINO, which is designed to help digest beans. And also, people do those cruciferous vegetables that can be kind of farty, like cauliflower and broccoli. So this is also a good one for people with SIBO to consider, because it's breaking down also a long chain carbohydrate as well. And it's over the counter. You can get it.
Are you talking about the BINO?
Yeah, the BINO.
One thing I just want to mention is that the BINO does have fish in it, believe it or not. So if anybody has like a crustacean allergy, you don't want to take BINO. As a vegetarian, there actually is an alternative to BINO. And if you type in like vegetarian BINO, it will come up. So that was a big surprise for me that there was
there's also vegetarian vitamin D3 that isn't ergocalciferol. So if you really are a vegetarian and you want vitamin D3, there is a vegetarian D3 that you don't have to get ergocalciferol.
Okay. What would it be called if it's not ergo and it's vegetarian?
You know what? I know that. Let me. I'll let it just come to my mind in a second. I'll find it and get it. So hydrochloric acid.
Next slide. Next slide.
Right on page on 28.
Okay.
So this is, I feel very strongly that we should not do this idea of adding one at a time until we feel the burn, and then going back and taking that much. That is not a good idea. And that we have to understand that some things that we've done for years, this idea was invented by one doctor. There is no science supporting it. It was invented by one physician back in the 80s, and people just took it on just because why not? But there's another researcher from England, Dr. Nigel Plummer, who actually did the research and found that when people have low stomach acid, that's the amount they need to replace on the slide. And when they have no stomach acid, which is called achlorhydria, which most people don't have achlorhydria, most people have hypochlorhydria, which is low stomach acid, then the amount that a person makes of stomach acid, say for a meal, is 2,200, around 2,000 milligrams. So if you have a capsule that's 600 milligrams, which is fairly typical, you only need 1 to 2 with your hypochlorhydria, maybe 3 to 4 if you literally make no stomach acid. And I just want to bring this up because literally I have seen patients coming to me that are on 7 hydrochloric acid capsules a meal. I've seen patients who came to me that got ulcers from the stomach acid because they were taking so much. So this, we have to understand, there's not science supporting this. So I don't want people to do this, and I don't recommend people do it. And instead, we just give the amounts that, Nigel Plummer has shown we need to replenish hydrochloric acid when we're not ideally producing it. The other thing is not every patient, and certainly not every SIBO patient, needs hydrochloric acid. This is also a misnomer that if you have SIBO, you need hydrochloric acid. That is not true. So every patient needs to be analyzed individually to see if they need it or not. And it will irritate as many people as it will help. And this we just have to give what people truly need. Now, remember, hydrochloric acid anyway isn't a digestive enzyme. The digestive enzyme is pepsin. And sometimes if people can't handle the acid, but they need the pepsin, there's one company, Dr. Clark's, who literally makes just a pepsin supplement without the hydrochloric acid. So that is very, very helpful to us, is to get, to get the digestive enzyme in, but to not get the acid that might not be as healthy for our stomach as we need it to be. Now, gentian and scutellaria. Gentian is an herb that is specific at increasing hydrochloric acid production in the stomach. Scutellaria is an anti-inflammatory herb. So this is a very naturopathic, 100-year-old formula for enhancing digestion. And then, of course, we always have apple cider vinegar. 29. How strong the enzyme is makes a big difference. These are enzyme measurements. We're just going to go to, just to let you know that there can be 29, the strength is different in different products. And if you're going to spend your money, you want to get one that has some decent amount of the ones you specifically made, the ones you specifically need, whether you need more protease or more amylase or more lipase or whatever. We can find an enzyme that is very specific for your needs. There is also an underused stool test called pancreatic elastase or elastase 1. And this stool test literally measures how much pancreatic enzymes your body produces. And so we can, my box is collapsing. So we can know for sure if you need, pancreatic enzymes by measuring this, and this, your LabCorp and Quest and our integrative labs also measure this enzyme. Now, for people that I do come across people that have very low elastase, which means they have what's called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. And that means that they are literally not making enough pancreatic enzymes. For these people, the absolute strongest pancreatic enzyme product made naturally, which is a lot cheaper than the drug ones, is this product from Vital Nutrients called Digestive Enzymes 500. It's stronger than Digest Gold. It's stronger than Ultra Enzymes from Pure Encapsulations. It really is the strongest product for people that really have serious pancreatic insufficiency. So these are, so we can mix things together. I'm going to have to, hold on. We're going to try this. So that's what I have on 30, on, enzymes. Now on 31 with oils, we're really looking at EPA and DHA. And not the amount of fish oil in a product. The amount of fish oil in the product is meaningless because what we need is EPA and DHA. And I like people to get at least 1,000 milligrams of EPA and about at least 750 DHA a day, as a daily starting supplement of fish oils. Why do we need fish oils? Well, they are anti-inflammatory. They're antioxidants. So they're going to help the gut heal. They're antidepressants and anti-anxiety. And we know with the mind body, there's so much anxiety that is associated with patients with SIBO. They make us feel better. They work on so many, they reduce insulin resistance. They work in many positive ways, and they are every cell in your body. Half of it is fat and half of it is protein. And that's the kind of fat that it needs in it. Every cell in your body, especially in your brain cells. So we want very clean oils. They come in capsules. They come in oils. They come in flavored oils. There's chewables, You can also freeze the capsules. If you get a little burp up, which you generally don't do with the good capsules. The really good, clean products are not very burp uppy. But if you do get a little burp up, stick the bottle in the freezer. It doesn't freeze into one glop. You can just whap it and pour out your 2 capsules, swallow them, and then they don't even digest and until they're out of they don't melt until they're out of your stomach. It really reduces burp up.
Wow, that's a great tip.
It's a great tip. We also have flaxseed as well, GLA oils, which are, you can see the plants that contain that, also anti-inflammatory. And then, of course, our medium chain triglycerides, which are, for example, in the elemental diet, which are our most absorbable oils that we can get in to our bodies. But they're not essential, all right? So we can use them for an elemental diet to get extra calories in, but they are not essential. Mm-hmm. Now so moving on just to 32, excipients. Now excipients.
Dr. Morstein, let me just ask you something about the omega and EPA and DHA. Yeah. If someone's a vegetarian, because there are a ton of them, how can we get the EPA and DHA if, like, from algae? Is that possible?
Yeah, there is. Yes, you can, except the algae products have, they don't have a lot of EPA and DHA in them. Like, for example, I'm totally anti-krill oil, right? For example, take Mega Red. Patients will bring me in Mega Red. Oh, it's krill oil. I'm like, one capsule has about 70 milligrams per 70 milligrams of EPA and DHA combined, 70, versus one company that makes a very absorbable fish oil. One capsule is the equivalent of 2,700 milligrams. I mean, it's out of the water. Or, a basic one is like one of my capsules is around 900 a day. So, a lot of it is just how much is getting in there. For vegetarians, I mean, we do have flaxseed oil. About 15% of flaxseed oil will become EPA and DHA. So, luckily, it's too bad because fish oils are just something every single person should be taking every day. If you're not going to do it, then taking a tablespoon or two of flaxseed oil is probably your best bet, unless you want to take 6 capsules of an algae fish oil, for example, and try to get some decent amounts in.
Like it's an algae oil that is the EPA and DHA, but no fish.
Yeah,
right?
An algae. Yes, an algae instead of fish oil. Yes.
Okay. Next slide. Here we go.
Next slide. So we're on excipients. Now, excipients, again, not everyone is dangerous or problematic. This is, if you want to, that's a website if you want to look up more. I'm just going to touch on a few, starting on slide 33. So, for example, one of the first one is a lubricant, which is magnesium stearate, for example. Now, magnesium stearate is a lubricant, and it's also can be a binder. So it can hold things together, and it's only found in tablets, just tablets, where they gotta not stick through the machine as they're being formulated. So they add a little magnesium stearate. Now, if they add a little bit towards the end, there's zero problems with absorbing this. And I have there's one product for when patients get sick. It's a tablet called Bio Vegetarian by Priority One. And it really is the strongest natural antibiotic in all of integrative medicine. And it has magnesium stearate in it because it is a tablet. And it's absorbed completely well. Patients take it in, they get over their sore throat, their bronchitis, their sinus infection, their strep throat, whatever is sick, they get over because it is very well absorbed. So stearic acid is a meat acid. If you can digest meat, you should be able to digest the stearic acid and get the tablet. Now, of course, most of our products are capsules now, so it's not like we're getting a lot of these tablets, but I wouldn't worry about stearic acid. Now, these dispersants, I had a patient the other day, oh my God, it's got cellulose in it. So here's the deal with cellulose and methylcellulose. These are sponges, and they're just fiber-like sponges. And as soon as the capsule hits your stomach, which is full of saliva, you've got a lot of saliva in your stomach. So when it hits that, it absorbs the water and it just breaks the capsule open. It breaks the tablet open. It just opens it up so it just is easily digested. These are not a problem to have cellulose, methylcellulose, not any kind of problem. They just swell with the saliva and break open. Now, color agents, we don't like colors unless it's very natural. So if I have these xylitol sucking candies in case my throat got sore, well, these are colored with foods, beets and other colors. We don't mind that, but the food colorings, the FD&C titanium dioxide. Those we don't need to have. They're not very good for ADD or ADHD kids. We don't really want them. Certain fillers like silicon dioxide, fine. Lactose, we don't really like. Yeast, we don't really like. But so we've got to, again, just study it and see which product is in there. On the next slide, there's
Before you move on, what was that most powerful antibiotic that you were talking about from priority one?
The most powerful is a product called Bio Vegetarian, and it's by priority one. Now, if you can't, that's a tablet. If that's too intense, because there's a bit of cayenne, you can get the Biotic Extra, which is a capsule product. And as long as you're not pregnant, especially in the first trimester, because it does have vitamin A, a lot of vitamin A. So it's contraindicated in women who are pregnant in the first trimester. It's also contraindicated in patients who have liver disease. Actually, some of it, if it has, it's got the berberine. So actually, women who are pregnant shouldn't take the product, and liver failure patients, people with a significant liver problem, it's too much vitamin A. But literally, that's for everybody else. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
And what could we use it for? Like, if you feel like you're coming down with something, you would use it then?
Well, if you feel like you're coming down with something, you should cleanse your bowels and fast. Okay. So those are the first two things to do if you feel you're coming down with something is clean your bowels, because illness comes from the gut, and then just start fasting. And that's number one and number two. Do some hydrotherapy, do some resting, and then if you're adding a supplement, this is a good supplement to add for sure.
And when you say hydrotherapy, I just want to make sure people don't confuse that with hydrocolon therapy.
Oh no, hydrotherapy is like doing is home applications of water, such as heating compress to the throat or heating socks, things to move the blood in the body so that a particular area can really fight off an infection better.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to get that out there.
Those are no, I don't mind. Interrupt as much as you want.
All right, thank you. Okay, so what slide are we on now?
34.
Okay, great.
So I've got, there's other things, like a preservative. If your multiple has ascorbate palmitate, we don't care. It's just vitamin C. But if it's got parabens or BHA or BHT, we do care. So we've got to just, hopefully your physician will have you bring your supplements in, go over them with you, educate you about them, approve what can be approved, and then explain, oftentimes because excipients, propylene glycol, for example, in a Centrum, yeah, that's an antifreeze. We don't need to take it in. We don't need to have talcum powder, talc, in our calcium magnesium products, or that's also in Centrum. We don't need to have talc in our bodies. So, these are excipients that can be very problematic. And the last one at the bottom, sodium benzoate. Sodium benzoate is in many beverages. It may be in vitamin products. If you mix sodium benzoate with vitamin C, it becomes benzene, which is a totally toxic chemical. So sodium benzoate plus vitamin C, no, not good. So we don't really like that one at all.
Next slide.
Yeah. And so I have some examples here. Now, I don't want to I'm mentioning some companies. I use Douglas Labs. I do use some of their products. I don't want us to feel that any particular, one product maybe isn't so good, that the whole company is not good. I don't want that to come out. There are some very, very good Douglas Lab products, but they do have a potassium chelated. And remember that potassium, selenium, and boron cannot actually be chelated, right? So, so this, now here's a Zymogen label. I hope you can see
Hang on for a second. Let me get to the, for some reason, my system was going great and now it's not moving as quickly.
Okay.
There's 35.
Right. So 36, show 36.
Got it.
Right. So, that is, so that is the picture of the potassium. On 37 is a standard multiple from Zymogen. And I want you to go read down. You'll see, you'll see first there's, retinol palmitate, beta carotene, various forms of vitamin C, a lot of mineral ascorbates. You'll see the vitamin E is D-alpha tocopherol and mixed tocopherols. And then some of the vitamins in the really good forms that we talked about. Calcium, and then magnesium. And then you see zinc as trax and copper as trax. Magnesium is trax, chromium, molybdenum. Trax is the formal term of a truly chelated mineral.
So that's good in these cases, right?
Yes, that is good. This is a good product, right? As a multiple vitamin mineral.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
And I see the Albion name too.
Yeah, Albion. I mean, I'm not paid by Albion, but I've met with Albion a number of times when I was teaching nutrition at the naturopathic school to make sure I understood minerals exactly the way they needed to be understood.
Okay. So from 37.
And now we're on 38. So here's pure encapsulations. They make a very good multiple. You'll see though, it's, they've got most of their minerals are the bound complexes. Very easily absorbed, not fully chelated, also still, very good quality of the vitamin. They do, this vitamin A up at the top says beta carotene. I couldn't get the full label on, but it does say they've got mixed carotenoids at the very bottom. So this is another good, decent quality. Here's Centrum.
Hold on.
Yep,
slide
39.
Yep, there's Centrum.
So calcium carbonate, right? Unless you have excellent hydrochloric acid, it's not going to be absorbed. Chloride, very hard to be absorbed. Here's your magnesium oxide, won't be absorbed. Here's the DL alpha tocopherol, so we know it's only half active. I'm not sure we need maltodextrin in our supplement. We certainly don't want BHT. We've got cornstarch. That's not so good. We've got cyanocobalamin, really stinky. Hydrogenated palm oil is a disaster in the human body. Any hydrogenated, fully or partially, it's a disaster as an oil. Now we've got more cornstarch. Here's nickel. Nickel is sulfide. That's a toxic metal. Nickel is in the multiple. The antifreeze, polyethylene glycol, more cornstarch. And then we've got going down, then stannous chloride. That's tin. You don't need tin in your multiple. You don't need talcum powder in your multiple. You don't need yellow number 6 in your multiple. And you don't need zinc oxide, which is the white stuff we put on our nose in summer. We don't need that. So this is, a lot of people buy these one-a-days, and think that this is a quality product and it's an easy one-a-day. But this is exactly what we don't want people to be getting in.
Okay, now I'm on slide 40, the whole food type of product.
Yeah, so a whole food product, this is not bad, as I say, but you can see the amounts are pretty low. It's really just, 60 milligrams of C, just 11 milligrams of E, and, 2 milligrams here, so not quite a bit of a good folate. But the B12 is cyanocobalamin, so it's, only 15 micrograms of selenium, where we would love to have 200, 60 of chromium, where we'd love to have 200. And you see this mineral bound Saccharomyces cerevisiae, right?
Yep.
So that, means it's the soy vat, right? It's this is so this is the soy vat one. This is now I just want to say this is a USP multiple. If you look at the ingredients, a lot of companies take Centrum and reformulate it with their name. If you look at these ingredients here, they're almost the exact same. And so you're going to see a lot of these very poor quality products with a lot of different names out there. But it's a USP, so you think, oh, it's USP formulated, but it's stinky, it's horrible.
Okay.
And on 42, here's what I said about the krill oil.
Hang on for just a second. 40. Hold on. By the way, Dr. Keller is with us as well. Hi, Dr. Keller. She's joining in the audience. It's great to have her here. Okay, 40. And then here's 41.
Yeah, so that was okay. The USP, again, just because it says it's USP, it still can be a really, really awful supplement.
Okay, but that whole food one was pretty darn good.
Well, no, the whole food one, this is the soy vat. So this is, again, if you realize it's made in a soy vat.
Oh, okay.
And so, you just have to be, but it doesn't have, no, it's not very good. It's not very strong. And it doesn't have good, it has cyanocobalamin, just things we don't like. No.
Okay, I thought that the whole food one was good, but then this one was bad.
The first two were good. Zymogen was good.
Okay.
And pure encapsulation is okay. But the Centrum, this one, and then the next one on slide 42 is again, it's, you may take it to get some astaxanthin. It's 17 micrograms. You can get, eat a tomato, so. But you can see how pathetic the EPA and DHA are.
Okay, 43.
And then 43. So here's one soft shell of another fish oil that has, 900. Right? One soft gel is 900 mixture of EPA and DHA, not 74.
Okay, we're going to move on. 44.
44 is, Panflex 2-phase, pretty popular enzyme used by naturopathic physicians. That covers everything, a little stomach, a little gallbladder, then it's got the pancreatin. It doesn't have disaccharidases in it, but, it's got a nice little blend of decent amounts, for a general everything above the small intestine.
Okay.
And 44. Then this is digestive enzyme 500, the strongest enzyme that for the pancreas that I've ever found. This equals Creon and the drugs that they use. And then the next one is SIBO, which is another strong product. But it does have these lactase, maltase, sucrase, the endopeptidase. They do have the disaccharidases in them. And I think, so that was on 46.
Yep.
And that's it. That was it. Kind of a rush through look at, supplements and the labels.
That was amazing, guys. Remember, thank you, Dr. Morstein. We have some questions for you, so don't leave us. And you can go into the units area of the Facebook community here, and you can download these slides, which is incredibly generous of Dr. Morstein. She did not need to do that. This is all on her own time. And even though, and Priority One is the company that has made Dr. Morstein's formulas, I haven't even had the time to reach out to them to see if they wanted to sponsor this. So,
okay. They did offer. I will say, I went to Vitacost and found an MRM vegan vitamin D3 that's very strong, made from lichen. So I know, so this vitamin D, so if you go to MRM vegan vitamin D3, is out there. So they've got a number, of vegan ones that you can get.
Are you saying Mary, Roger, Mary?
I am saying Mary, Roger, Mary, vegan vitamin D3.
But we do love Priority One. They have sponsored one of our past summits, and I will be talking to them about the docuseries and sponsoring the docuseries. So we love you, Priority One, and Dr. Morstein. So I want to get to some of these questions, and please chime in here. Would love for Dr. Morstein. I really appreciate her, and I know you do too. Hi guys. Dr. Plummer is the doctor from the UK that you were talking about. And what is the name of that bio product from Priority One that you were talking about? I have it written down.
Bio dash vegetarian. I don't know why, I don't know why they call it vegetarian, but it's bio vegetarian.
And is it a veggie product?
That's the tableted form. If you're the other one that's in the capsule is called Biotic Extra.
Okay. And
now,
then
when someone comes sick to me, they have a sore throat, a pharyngitis, a sinus infection. I give them that product with then an herbal tincture that has herbs in it directly, to address this area of their body, that's mostly sick. So that combination can be very effective together.
And what about, so talk to us a little bit about the Heidelberg testing that you've seen over the years. Because we're talking about stomach acid.
The machine is like $15,000 and, it's $400 to do the test. But basically you're swallowing a capsule, has a little radio on it. Then you're going to so they're going to measure your pH in your stomach. Then you drink sodium bicarb, and we see how long does it take to reacidify your stomach. And then they repeat the test, and we see a second time how long does it take to reacidify your stomach. So this is a test to see, do you make enough stomach acid? For most people, though, a bottle of hydrochloric acid is $8. So you can just take one with a meal and see how you do. So there is that kind of just experimental type of testing because almost nobody actually has a Heidelberg test. So since we shouldn't really give one, at least most individual clinical docs, right? But since we now know that you need just really one or two with meals, then that's it's easy enough just to have patients try that and see if they get, look, if you have low hydrochloric acid, which means you're not activating pepsin. So pepsin in your stomach is pepsinogen, and hydrochloric acid makes it pepsin. And then it digests your food because it's pepsin that does that. If you're not digesting, and the only thing we digest in our stomach is protein. So the number one symptom really is if you eat a chicken breast and it just sits in your stomach like a rock, it just doesn't feel like it's getting digested, then that's the number one sign or symptom of low stomach acid. Some people may get GERD, but many people who have GERD don't need extra stomach acid. They don't. Hydrochloric acid can aggravate them, so it's not an end all and be all. But for some people, it can be effective. But if you have protein and it sits in your stomach, it just doesn't seem like it's digesting. That's really a key sign, or it's a key symptom for a doc to think, whoa, your hydrochloric acid isn't so good.
I just put up Dr. Morstein's slide with her phone number and the website address for you to go and make an appointment. I also am going to put up the website. Our address is SIBOSOS.com. If you go to the masterclass area, you can actually go and find her masterclass, and you can pick up that recording for $59. It was fantastic. So I wanted to point that out as well. And I wanted to say thank you. Well, let's see one more time. How do you cleanse your bowels if you're getting sick? Is a fleet enema enough? As you know, it's easy to keep those around the house just in case. Is that enough, or do you need something more complex? And then we'll wrap up.
In naturopathic medicine, ideally, we like to use a combination product called 42s. And 42s are a mixture of aloe as the straight herb and wormwood. And these are very, 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 very bitter herbs. And so when you take them, first they're going to flush the liver and gallbladder, since those are the flavors for the liver and gallbladder. And then they will have a gentle cathartic action. So you cleanse your liver and have a cathartic action. So if they're, so they're 42s, but if you don't have 42s or have some wormwood at home or aloe at home, then yeah, if you're out and about, then a fleet enema at least is something to get, some bowel cleansing. Yes. Although,
okay.
That would be
You're asking.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Was that a kitty cat I just heard?
That's my little boy. It's time for me to walk him, so he's
Do you walk your cat outside?
I do, morning and night. He doesn't need a leash either. He just walks with me.
That's amazing. Okay, so Dr. Morstein's website address is listed there. If you're in Tempe, Arizona, you can go see her. And she also does do telemedicine appointments. So I want to say thank you very much to everyone who joined us today. And if you're watching the recording, I hope that you will go to the units section of the Facebook group, and you can download the slide deck. So, and if you want more, I'm just checking one more thing, guys. One more thing. I don't know if we're going to send this out in an email, so be sure to go ahead and do that and download the slides. It's very, very generous of you, Dr. Morstein.
Sure.
And Dr. Keller is saying, she has. Dr. Keller, do you have a Heidelberg machine at your place? There are two offices that she refers to for people around the area in Los Angeles where she practices. Cool. Very, very cool. And check out phcapsule.com if you want to find out more about that. And then I definitely hope you will reach out. Just go look at Dr. Morstein's site too. It's a great site. If you know anyone with diabetes, please send them to her site as well. She's written a beautiful book about that. And I'm going to wrap it up. Guys, thanks so much for being here. And Dr. Morstein, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I adore you.
Thank you very much, Siobhan. Thank you so much. It was an honor.
Oh, our pleasure. Take care. Listen, one more reminder, if you are here live, be sure to go to SIBOSOS.com to see all of the master classes. And we do have some wonderful ones coming up. We also have a lot of events going on, more Facebook Lives this week. Dr. Keller will be joining us in the Facebook group too periodically. So Find out more about what's going on. We're working really hard to bring you direct access to these experts so you can get the help that you need. Because remember, SIBO SOS stands for Save Ourselves. We need to work with these practitioners. We need to be our own advocates and work with really smart people like this. It's not a substitute for medical advice. Go get your doctor's appointment with them, but certainly use your common sense. And if you can't get an appointment with these folks and you have a GI doctor who's flexible, bring this information. Print out the slide, the slideshow, walk in there and go, dude, or dudette.
That is not going to work.
Well, it depends on who it is, right? It depends on who it is. Right. Take care, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.